now with Ms Atkinson.
Good afternoon, Commissioner. Two questions. One, illegal migration. The port of Dover is in my constituency. Dover is on the front line of uncontrolled migration. Today, the socialist mayor of Calais threatens to blockade the French port over migrants. Could I have the Commissioner's response, please? And the second question is about the EU arrest warrant. This week, my constituents, Mr and Mrs King, were arrested under the EU arrest warrant. They were thrown in a Spanish jail for no other crime than they took their terminally ill son abroad to get different care from the UK. The EU arrest warrant came out of this place. In our country, we have habeas corpus. Our rights are ours because we were born with them, not because they were given to us by this place. They're not compatible with the EU arrest warrant. Can the Commissioner explain the law of unintended consequences, please?
Do actually cover the responsibility of the Commissioner for Justice. So I would refer to Mrs Reichert's, the questions referring to the arrest warrant and on the data protection negotiations, where I agree that the Council is very slow on this. A few words then on migration. Because many of you asked, is this really the way to do with it? No, of course not. Apart from the economy, the jobs and so on, migration will be the biggest challenge for Europe in the decades to come. There will be people all over the world who are migrating. Basically, that is a good thing. Migration is a force for good and development. There will be people seeking a new future. That is also something to be welcomed. But there will also be people who run away from poverty, from diseases, from oppression, and from the terrible wars that we see in Iraq, in Syria and elsewhere. A small, tiny part of these people will try to come to Europe. 100,000 Syrians have come to Europe. 100,000 out of 3 million refugees abroad and 6 million internally displaced. Iraqis have not yet started coming. There will be Iraqis coming as well, but most of them are in their neighbourhood. Of course, we should help them in the neighbourhood when we can, but we should also bear in mind that we have some commitments and values to defend. Now, of course, all these people cannot come to Europe. We need to manage this. We need to manage irregular migration. We need to manage labour migration. We need to manage asylum migration. We have done a good work together to try to get a more global picture on this, because it is related to foreign policy, to trade, to aid, to a lot of other policies. We need to merge this much more in the future. I hope the new Commission can contribute. I hope the new Parliament and that the Council can stop thinking in silos, because this is the big challenge. And in addition to this, we have very strong political forces in Europe who see this as a threat and as something to combat. I do not belong to those forces, but it's a reality that we have to deal with those political parties, those governments and those ministers. Now, this will really be something. We will have to have a coherent approach from this, from the place where people are displaced till they come. We have done some good work, but we need to do more.